We have the first Sarah Boone letter of 2026. And what is she complaining about? Brian and making even more demands because Sarah never changes. Respondent's notice of information. Comes now pro se respondent Sarah K. Boone and respectfully submits her notice of information for the Honorable Court's consideration while this family law matter remains open and pending final judgment since the trial held on August 25th, 2025. In the interim, the respondent makes the following statements for awareness of the petitioner, Brian C. Boone, continuing to inappropriately withhold rightful and reasonable parental time between mother and son for no reason other than retaliation and disregard for the court's authority in his harmful self-implemented rules which are not in the best interest of the child. In the absence of a modified court order since the trial and after both parties' closing arguments were submitted, the respondent has experienced increasing unilateral restrictions imposed by the petitioner, vastly limiting her contact with her minor son. These restrictions of the petitioner include permitting only one telephone call per week between the respondent and minor son without a court order authorizing implementation of such restriction. During Christmas and New Year period, denying the respondent all holiday parenting time, stating it was his Christmas, according to the parenting plan, and she is not family to her through their son while on the telephone prior. Prevented telephone communication during the child's 2-week winter break by not providing funds for the respondent to call her son. So Sarah is already, let's take a moment, let's take a breath. Let's talk about what she's already doing. She is now saying, I want more than one call a week, and the court didn't say I'm limited to one call. The court didn't say you get more than that either, Sarah. Unless I'm misremembering. Sarah wants Christmas time, holiday time. She's in prison. Prevented telephone communication during the 2-week because Brian isn't giving Sarah money. Sarah is wanting money. At the core of it, she wants money. Refused a pre-discussed 15-minute remote video visit on Christmas Day for the 6th consecutive year to allow minor son to open the respondent's gift she privately arranged. Are these going to be more things that you had people on the internet send to your son, Sarah? That's all she could do. It's dangerous she's giving that information out. Then pressured the child to open without her in front of the petitioner's family. So that's, again, not a court thing, so who cares? Declined a pre-discussed in-person visit with the respondent in which was the last opportunity for the minor son to see her during his entire 2-week holiday break before returning to school. Again, no mention of this being ordered by the court, and Sarah is being Sarah, demanding money. There's a good chance the son doesn't want to see her. Wherefore, due to the absence of a modified court order generated from the trial, both parties' closing arguments in the case are, as a whole, the respondent's concerned as petitioner will remain non-compliant. Non-compliant to what? Your orders, in his unreasonable actions and comments such as aforementioned or worse, which are not in the child's best interest and continue to impede the meaningful relationship with her minor son. The respondent respectfully requests this honorable court to graciously consider the post-trial developments in this notice to understand the negative efforts continued by the petitioner and her positive determination in still avidly trying to spend time with her son, however, whenever, wherever possible, and which are in his best interest at all times, respectfully submitted on this 9th day of January 2026, Sarah Boone. So no, Sarah, what this letter does, right, is it highlights that the judge needs to make the order and strip Sarah Boone of any sort of imaginary power she believes she has. Sarah Boone, in this letter, is basically saying, listen, there's no court saying I can't do it, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to demand it. It literally... She's basically like stalking her own child at this point. She is having third parties send things to their home. I could also imagine there's third party attempted contact by her friends to the son. I would not be shocked by that because it's wholly inappropriate things we already know that they have done, right? Sarah is making the argument for the judge to show that she just shouldn't have any power. Nothing. Because she will abuse it, and she will extend it, and she'll make things up to try to get her way. She's still after Brian's money. She's arguing all this, why I couldn't contact my son because Brian didn't give me money. Well, Sarah, have a few less honey buns, put that money in a different place. Shocker, I know. And of course, when does this all come out? On the 13th, when I am busy. I have planned for a while to do Hightail on this day, the one day I'm not looking, but I happen to make a few community posts and I noticed a comment saying, hey, did you know there's something filed by Sarah Boone? And I went to the Sarah Boone subreddit and this is just waiting for me. So want to shout out the Sarah, it's like our Sarah Boone continued. Shout out to them for having it. She doesn't change. We're 2026, sixth Christmas. Sarah Boone says in this, for the sixth Christmas, he didn't visit. Okay. So it's the usual. Sarah somehow seems to have it in her head that because there isn't an order, whatever she wants should be what happens between court and the order. I can just imagine the things she's saying to the son and saying to Brian. Absolutely disgusting. Sarah Boone is always just doing terrible, terrible things, and she'll continue. Now, remember, if you're wondering about her main case, her appeal, we should be getting an update by the end of this month. Probably just going to be an extension, but there should be an update on the case. Now, will Sarah complain about there being another extension? Quite possibly, but she was told she can't submit things on that docket. So will she try to submit it back on the other docket? Who knows? She seems to really think that she can just order judges around. I don't know what she does once the judge decides in this, because whatever the judge decides, we know that she's not going to be happy with it, and she's going to continually demand more. Whatever it is, she's going to demand more. So if you think, oh, we're going to not have any letters, no, she is going to complain. If the judge says she gets one call a week, she's going to complain that she's not getting 3. And that while it's only 1, she wants 4, so therefore 3 is what Brian should do. She is not going to learn. This is Sarah Boone. She's shown it time and time again. I don't think there's any reasonable purpose to submit this. Maybe someone who's gone through can let me know in the comments. If you've gone through a custody hearing or anything like that, would this ever be an acceptable type of thing to send while awaiting the final judgment? I have to imagine this is something that lawyers would say, do not do. But thank you for tuning in. I'm sure there'll be more Sarah Boone.